Tonight, we find Joseph in a distant land called Egypt. After he was sold by his brothers into slavery, the slave traders sold him to a man named Potiphar. Joseph worked in Potiphar's house. Because Joseph was faithful to God, God continued to look after Joseph and bless him. In fact, Potiphar noticed that everything Joseph did was so productive that Potiphar placed Joseph over all his house.
Okay, here are the chores for the day. Velma, you clean the stone floors and the stone walls. Jamal, you clean the stone jars and the stone dishes. And Louise, wipe down the stone columns and the stone furniture. Any questions? All right, let's get to it. And hey, let's be careful out there.
Hey, Joseph. Hey, have you seen Mrs. Potiphar today?
No, does she need something?
No. She doesn't need anything. I mean, have you seen what she's wearing?
No. It's not my place to look at another man's wife and think about what she's wearing.
I'm just saying, man. She's looking, you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean. Unless, of course, is the sound you make when you suddenly find yourself unemployed if you don't get your work done.
Look, don't threaten me with rock cleaning, okay? I can go down the road and clean rocks. I'm just saying. I noticed Miss Potiphar looking at you, and the least you could do is compliment her on her outfit. Look out. Here she comes. Good day, Mrs. Potiphar. I was just going to clean some rugs.
Oh, Joseph, could you come here a moment, sweetie?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Is there something I can do for you?
I certainly hope so. You know, I've noticed you have such a strong, commanding voice and a strong and commanding way that you give the slaves their jobs to do. Kind of reminds me of Potiphar before we were married.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I have to admit, I truly enjoy working for your husband. He's given everything in this house in my hands, and I take that responsibility very seriously.
Now, when you say my old husband gave everything in this house in your hands, are you talking about these two hands?
What, these hands? These are just your average run-of-the-mill servant hands.
No, you have exceptional hands. They are strong and forceful and know what they were doing and know what they want.
Mrs. Potiphar, I'm not sure what you want.
Oh, Joseph, you're such a silly boy. I don't want anything other than to hold your hand.
Mrs. Potiphar! You're a married woman, and I work for your husband. I can't just hold the hands of any woman, and I have work to do.
Joseph, I'm a woman with feelings. I just need someone with strong hands to hold my hands.
Mrs. Potiphar, I cannot stand here and talk to you about something so personal, so intimate, like holding hands. It's just not right. And I've got work to do.
Please, don't leave, Joseph.
Good day, ma'am.
While Joseph refused Mrs. Potiphar's advancements, she did not stop trying. Mrs. Potiphar was not a godly woman, and she continued her indecent proposals of extramarital hand-holding. But Joseph refused every time, until one day, Mrs. Potiphar waited until she and Joseph were alone in the house.
All right, everybody, it's that time of year again where we get to clean or rearrange the rocks in the garden. And after all, because it is a rock garden, this may take a while. But if we get to it now, we may be able to knock it out today. Today. Now, I'll go get the shovels, and I'll meet you around later. Sound good? Okay. Oh, excuse me, Mrs. Potiphar, I didn't see you there. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't apologize. I'm so glad that we ran into each other.
Well, I'm glad that you're glad, but as usual, I really don't understand what you mean. I have work to do.
Don't toy with me, young man.
I'm sorry again, but I'm just not following Mrs. Potiphar.
Look, I know what I'm thinking. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I don't I think the heat may have gotten to you. I assure you, the only thing I'm thinking is the work I have to do for your husband.
Joseph,
Mrs. Potiphar!
no. Don't deny the simple romance of holding your sweet hand in mine. Please, just this one time.
Mrs. Potiphar, I'm not your husband. I can't hold your hand. I can't do this to your husband. I can't do this in the sight of my God. Please let me go!
Honey, I'm home.
Oh, Potiphar!
Oh, my dear wife, what's wrong?
It's Joseph!
What?
Yes!
What could Joseph possibly do to get you this upset?
He-
He didn't forget to clean my rock collection, did he?
No, he tried to.
My sweet little angel wife, you can tell me.
He tried to hold my hand.
What?
It's true, it was a nightmare. He tried to force me to hold his hand, and then when he saw you coming, he ran, and I grabbed his coat.
Joseph!
Yes, sir.
I trusted you. I believed in you. I put you in charge over everything in my house. And this is how you repay me? By forcing yourself on my sweet, innocent wife? Don't... Don't play games with me, boy. I know how you tried to hold her hand. Is there nothing sacred in this world anymore? Of all the things to do, you now betray me by trying to force my wife to hold your strong hands. Have you no decency, man?
But Mr. Potiphar, I can explain.
I don't want to hear it. Guards!
And so Potiphar believed his wife and had Joseph thrown into prison.
Look, you Dano.
Just when things started looking up for Joseph, now not only is he a slave in a foreign land, but he is in prison in a foreign land.
Yeah.
But Joseph continued to be faithful to God, and God blessed everything that Joseph did. Soon, the prison keeper put Joseph in charge of everyone in the prison because he completely trusted Joseph.
All right, your attention, please. I have the day's activities, so I need your attention. That means you. At 9 o'clock, we have exercise classes. Cupbearer, do we have the cupbearer here?
Here.
Cupbearer, you'll be leading the exercise classes.
You know me.
Just because we're in prison doesn't mean physical exercise isn't important. Next on the schedule, at 10:30, we have cooking classes. Baker, do we have a baker in the house?
Oh, wait, that's me.
Greetings, Baker.
Hi.
At 10:30, we have cooking classes, very exciting things. And because we have a professional baker amongst us, I felt it only appropriate.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you so much for volunteering your services. Now, the rest of the afternoon is free time. So, as long as we behave ourselves, mind our manners, and no fighting, everything should be okay. This is all that I have. Thank you for your attention. You are dismissed. And hey, let's be careful out there.
Joseph, can we talk to you for just a minute?
Certainly, anything for two wrongly convicted inmates. Tell me what you need.
Well, you know that exercise class and that cooking class you wanted to have today? I think we're going to have to cancel it.
Oh no, what's wrong?
Well, the cupbearer and I have been having these really weird dreams that have been keeping us up really late at night, and we can't sleep. We're trying to figure it out, but we're just exhausted. I think we're too tired to teach. So, unless you know a way that we can figure out what these dreams are talking about, then
They're so
we're just gonna
messed
have
up,
to
man.
cancel
We haven't been
class.
able to sleep in what, a week?
Something.
Well, why don't you tell me about these dreams? I have a little experience with weird and strange dreams.
All right, well, I've been having this dream about this vine. Matter of fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. See, this vine was growing.
You just happen to have this visual handy.
Sure, what'd you think I did for my free time yesterday? So, this vine was growing and it split into 3 branches. And at the end of every branch, except that one that you don't see, there's grapes. And all of a sudden I started squeezing the grapes, pressing them into the cup, which happened to be Pharaoh's cup. I don't know what this means, but it's keeping me up at night, man, and I'm going crazy.
And then, in my dream,
Wow, you too, huh?
well, I spent free time with him yesterday. So, in my dream, I had 3 baskets on my head filled with bread, and all these birds kept swooping in and eating all the bread. These dreams are just so weird. We have no idea what they could mean.
Well, I have good news for you, cupbearer. The meaning of your dream is this. In 3 days, Pharaoh will release you from this prison, and you will return as your post as the cupbearer to Pharaoh.
That's it, man.
The only thing I ask is that you remember me. Tell Pharaoh my story and that I am wrongly convicted.
I got you, dog.
That's reasonable.
I got you. I won't forget you.
Well, what about me? What about me? Do I get to go?
This is the interpretation of your dream, Baker. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you out of this prison and hang you from a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh. The good news is that you're getting out of prison, but you're definitely going to die. Sorry, Baker.
It's been nice knowing you.
And just as Joseph had prophesied, in 3 days the guards came and released the cupbearer, and he was given his old job of being the cupbearer to the king. And just as Joseph had prophesied, in 3 days the guards came and led the baker out to hang him from a tree. Sadly, when the cupbearer was released, he was so excited that he completely forgot about Joseph and did not tell Pharaoh about Joseph like he had promised. But 2 years later, something happened that changed all of this.
Listen here, guards. I need all of the magicians here immediately. And if they're not here quickly, I'm gonna do some downsizing.
What do you mean by downsizing?
You remember the baker, don't you?
Yes, sir. I'll get them right away. Yes.
Get them quickly.
What seems to be troubling you, my excellency?
I've been having these weird dreams. And they keep me up at night. And I've just got to figure out what they mean.
I understand. I've had that problem before. Could I get you something to drink?
Yes, please.
We're here, my lordship.
I've been having these strange dreams. And I need you to tell me what they mean.
Well, tell us the dreams and we will tell you what they mean, Pharaoh.
Are you sure that you can do this?
You've got nothing to worry about, Pharaoh. We're professionals.
Well, it happened last night. As I was dreaming about, there were 7 fat cows. And these 7 good-looking fat cows came up out of the river. And then, these 7 ain't talking about some of my children. But here's a similar dream that I've had as well. 7 beautiful ears of corn. Plump kernels, put some butter and salt on it. Just tasty. And then 7 sickly, skinny, nasty-looking ears of corn swallow the 7 fat ears of corn. It just doesn't make sense. No one can tell me what it means. That's why I need my magicians.
Pharaoh, the answers are within you. Your dreams are so deep and so powerful that a mere mortal like myself could never interpret such majestic dreams. Yeah, no, I've got nothing. Sorry, Pharaoh, that's a tough one.
What am I paying you magicians for? You can't help me with my dreams and you're worthless. I need someone who can tell me about my dreams. Because right now I'm not getting any sleep. And I get grouchy when I don't get sleep. When I get grouchy, I start thinking about downsizing. Do you understand?
Pharaoh,
Yes, Cupbearer.
I can interpret your dream.
You're a cupbearer. True, you know about interpreting dreams.
Well, not me personally, but I know a guy who can. Do you remember when I was in prison?
Yes.
I was there with the baker, and we came upon this guy. Me and the baker both were having these weird dreams. We had no idea what they meant. But we told this other prisoner, and he was able to interpret those dreams, and his interpretation came to be exactly as he told it. He said the baker was going to die. Well, of course, he died. And he said I was going to be let free to come serve you again. And I was let free to come serve you again. I think he can help you.
Well, it can't hurt. After all, my magicians are worthless. What was this man's name?
Joseph.
Well, somebody find Joseph.
The guards found Joseph in prison, and as you can imagine, Joseph was a little dirty and messy, having been in prison for so many years. So the guards cleaned him up as best they could and tried to make him presentable for Pharaoh. Then the guards brought Joseph before Pharaoh.
The cupbearer tells me that you can interpret dreams. And I've been having these 2 dreams that no one can help me with. Can you tell me what they mean?
No, I cannot interpret dreams.
Then why are you here?
While I cannot interpret dreams, my God
And this is how Joseph rose to be the second most powerful man in Egypt. Joseph was faithful to God, and God blessed and provided for Joseph. While good things are finally happening to Joseph, the story is not over yet. While Joseph is doing very well on his own, he still misses his family. And tomorrow night, we will hear the end of the story, how Joseph is reunited with his family.